sound okay?
Yes.
Didn't sound like too much of an Italian accent. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining our Teletown Hall meeting. My name is Senator Joseph Abruzzo. I'm grateful for the opportunity to fill you in on this past legislative session. You can also ask questions throughout this call by dialing 0. We are waiting for a few more to join the town hall, and we will begin promptly. Thank you very much. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining our Teletown Hall meeting. My name is Senator Joseph Abruzzo, and I am grateful for the opportunity to fill you in on this past legislative session. You can ask questions throughout this call by dialing 0. We are waiting on a few more people and residents to join us. As soon as we hit our threshold, we will start the telephone town hall. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining our Teletown Hall meeting. My name is Senator Joseph Abruzzo. I'm grateful for the opportunity to fill you in on this past legislative session. You can also ask questions throughout this call by dialing 0. We are waiting for a few more people to join us, and then we will begin our program. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining our Teletown Hall meeting. My name is Senator Joseph Abruzzo. I'm grateful for the opportunity to fill you in on this past legislative session. You can ask questions throughout this call by dialing 0. We are waiting for a few more residents and people to join our telephone conversation, and then we will begin our program. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining our Teletown Hall meeting. My name is Senator Joseph Abruzzo. I am grateful for the opportunity to fill you in on this past legislative session. You can ask questions throughout this call by dialing 0. We are waiting for a few more to join our town hall, and we will begin promptly. Let me just thank the people that have heard me repeat this several times. I know it could be getting redundant, but there are literally thousands of people who will be joining us this evening, so I am repeating these phrases so we could hit our threshold and begin. So once again, especially those who've been on, who have heard me repeat this numerous times, thank you very much. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining our Teletown Hall meeting. My name is Senator Joseph Abruzzo. I'm grateful for the opportunity to fill you in on this past legislative session. You can also ask questions throughout this call by dialing 0. We are waiting for a few more to join our town hall, and we will begin promptly. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining our Teletown Hall meeting. My name is Senator Joseph Abruzzo, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to fill you in on this past legislative session. You can also ask questions throughout this call by dialing 0. We are waiting for a few more to join the town hall, and we will begin our program momentarily. Let me just say we are almost at that threshold. We have about 2,000 people on the call right now. We are about halfway through the calls going out, and then we will begin. So I would estimate, I would say about 2 more minutes, maybe less, and we will start our telephone conversation. Till then, unfortunately, I have to repeat this phrase a few more times. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining our Teletown Hall meeting. My name is Senator Joseph Abruzzo. I am grateful for the opportunity to fill you in on this past legislative session. You can also ask questions throughout this call by dialing 0. We are waiting for a few more people and residents to join our town hall, and we will begin momentarily. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining our Teletown Hall meeting. My name is Senator Joseph Abruzzo. I'm grateful for the opportunity to fill you in this past legislative session. You can also ask questions throughout this call by dialing 0. We are waiting for a few more to join the town hall, and we will promptly begin. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining our Teletown Hall meeting. My name is Senator Joseph Abruzzo, and I am grateful for the opportunity to fill you in on this past legislative session. You can also ask questions throughout this call by dialing 0. We are waiting for a few more to join the town hall. And let me just say, ladies and gentlemen, we just hit 3,000 people on the call. We're a little over halfway through the calls, so again, just should be momentarily. So we're probably going to hit around 6,000 to 8,000 people on the telephone call. I cannot thank you enough for your patience. I will say this a few more times. Obviously, this is a great way for everyone collectively throughout the community to get a legislative update, hear what's going on in the areas of education, healthcare, of course, our economy, and many other safety for our community. So we are fortunate to have this ability. But I have to go back to the script staff is indicating. So good evening. Thank you so much for joining our Teletown Hall meeting. My name is Senator Joseph Abruzzo. I'm grateful for the opportunity to fill you in on this past legislative session. You can also ask questions throughout this call by dialing 0. We are waiting for a few more to join the town hall, and we will begin momentarily. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining our Teletown Hall meeting. My name is Senator Joseph Abruzzo. I'm grateful for the opportunity to fill you in on this past legislative session. You can also ask questions throughout this call by dialing 0. We're waiting for a few more to join the town hall, and we will begin momentarily. How are we looking? Almost there. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining our Teletown Hall meeting. My name is Senator Joseph Abruzzo. I'm grateful for the opportunity to fill you in on this past legislative session. You can also ask questions throughout this call by dialing 0. We are waiting for a few more to join us momentarily. And what I will do, ladies and gentlemen, in a few minutes, I'm going to start, and then we will. I'll briefly go back. We are almost completed. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining our town hall meeting. My name is Senator Joseph Abruzzo. I'm grateful for the opportunity to fill you in on this past legislative session. You can also ask questions throughout the call by dialing 0. We are waiting for a few more residents and people to join our town hall, and we will begin momentarily. How many people are there? Okay, we just hit 4,000 people, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining our Teletown Hall meeting. My name is Senator Joseph Abruzzo, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to fill you in on this past legislative session. You can also ask questions throughout this call by dialing 0. We are waiting on a few more people. Also, actually, before we begin, let me briefly talk about our district boundaries. We had redistricting last year. The district we all live in, and that I'm fortunate enough to represent because of you, is this Senate District 25, which is the entire county of Palm Beach County west of the Turnpike, all the way through the Glades, and it cuts over east through Palm Beach Gardens, part of Jupiter, Juno Beach, North Palm. So it's a large district. It's one of the largest geographic districts in the state, and obviously extremely diverse. We have a lot of retiree condos down in the south end in Boca, Boynton, and Delray. It comes up to Wellington and Royal Palm, and then over to the Glades as stated. And then, of course, some of our newer communities in the Palm Beach Gardens area. So it's extremely diverse. Unlike other Senate districts where the community is more centralized, we virtually have a true melting pot in Senate District 25, all different challenges and needs in each part of the community. So I really am a senator when I go to Tallahassee to advocate for everybody. I'm not a one-issue legislator. We really work on a variety of issues, which we will get to during our conversation. But I have to go briefly back to the script. We are almost complete. We just hit over 5,000 people on this telephone call. So once again, thank you so much for your patience, and we really will begin momentarily. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining our Teletown Hall meeting. My name is Senator Joseph Abruzzo, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to fill you in on this past legislative session. You can also ask questions throughout this call by dialing 0. We are waiting for a few more to join the town hall, and we will begin momentarily. Good evening. Thank you so much. You mean they're coming on and off? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I just got the okay. We are going to begin. Thank you for, once again, as I stated, for the honor of serving you as your state senator. I would like to provide you a brief update of the 2014 legislative session that recently concluded. A $77.1 billion budget was approved, with many positive aspects focused on Palm Beach County families. Crucial funding for our K-12 education system was increased by $36.4 million. Furthermore, there were tax cuts for Floridians with more than $500 million in tax relief measures. In addition to the budget, the legislature remained focused on improving our economy to bring more jobs to Florida while having serious and thoughtful debate on immigration policy and veterans benefits. I'm going to briefly go through with you some of our personal bills that we either sponsored, were the main sponsor, or co-sponsored through the session. One bill that did pass was a bill that truly started right here in Palm Beach County. We have some incredible organizations, homeowners organizations in Western Palm Beach County, COBRA, the Delray Alliance, and West Boca Community Council. And in the beginning before session started, they brought an initiative to us called Yellow Dot to both Representatives Irv Schlossberg and myself. And what this will be, everybody will have an opportunity to go out and get a Yellow Dot sticker, and the county will be providing this for their car. You're going to be able to place this Yellow Dot on the back of your automobile. This will signal to first responders if you are, God forbid, in a major car accident. It will let them know that your pertinent medical information is in your glove box. This program has been implemented in several states. It has been extremely successful. It has saved many, many lives. We did pass the bill to authorize it right here in the state of Florida, but again, it started right here in Palm Beach County, so I'm pleased to announce that initiative will be put in place. I also worked on a piece of legislation for ID theft, identity theft. We are ground zero for identity theft for the United States of America. So what we did, I've fortunately passed an amendment that now stiffens the penalties to a second-degree felony for anybody that steals the identity of a senior or a child, a veteran, a host of classifications. So I'm pleased to that we are taking a crack at those who are trying to steal our identity. It also gives more tools to our state attorney and beefs up their financial budgets to go after ID people that try to commit ID crimes. There's a number of issues that I'm going to go through, but I'm going to start with our veterans. We passed the Florida GI Bill this year, which I'm pleased because I served in the Coast Guard for many years. And what our GI Bill for our state, it will allow veterans from anywhere to pay in-state tuition if they attend a Florida college and universities. We have the third highest veterans in the nation with 1.6 million vets in the state of Florida. So anything we could do to attract them here, keep them here, to become the friendliest state in the union to veterans, that is my personal goal, as well as many other legislators. So I'm proud that we passed a bill like this. It also beefs up our armories and really just keeps us down the path of being known as the most veteran-friendly state in the union. We did go in the realm of criminal justice this year. I was proud to sponsor several bills that really go after sexual predators. We, I believe, are the toughest state for those who or for those who want to engage in extreme inappropriate behavior, grotesque behavior. We probably have one of the strongest laws on the book now. We made it a felony with a mandatory 50-year sentence for anyone that molests a child. And to me, you cannot go far enough in this area. If you want to cause harm to a small child in such a grotesque way, I'm proud to get 50 years, but that's very strict compared to other states. Also, we co-sponsored a law for those who go into jail and serve their term or serve their sentence for engaging in this type of behavior. Right now, when they come out, there aren't a lot of evaluation tools in place, So we stiffened the law book and made it now that they will be evaluated to a high degree to determine if they need treatment and therapy. So right now we just release them to the streets. That won't be the case after this legislative session, so I'm pleased on that behalf. I want to talk about education because education is extremely important to me. We did pass an education budget. It's the largest ever in the history of our state. More money has been spent on education than any year that we ever had in Florida. However, even though that's the case, we're still behind on per student funding from 2007. So it's a victory. It's a step in the right direction. Our education budget was $18.9 billion. Again, the largest amount ever allocated to the state budget. That's $6,937 per student in a public school. But that in 2008, which was our record level, the funding was $7,126. So we're still a little bit behind. We have to get there. You're going to hear a lot of talk about how it's a historic budget in the sense of the mass pot. It's true. But to me, until we hit the overall 2008 numbers, we just aren't there yet. But again, step in the right direction. To our teachers, the very first bill I filed last year when you elected me senator was to increase our teacher pay to the national average. This is something I will continue to fight for and work on until we get done. We have one of the lowest teacher retention rates in the nation. Teachers leave after 3.5 years on the job. Not to another school, but again, they have to go find another career. And to myself personally, we will never stabilize our public education system until we could keep our incredible teachers in the classroom and start paying them at least just the national average. We pay our teachers $10,000 below the national average, our public school teachers, and to me, that shouldn't be the case. On road safety, we worked on texting while driving last year. I know this is a big issue within our community. Let me briefly state this. The law we passed last year that made it illegal to text and drive, it's only for a secondary offense. A police officer does not have the right to pull you over unless you're doing something else, speeding, running a red light, etc. Also, if they pull you over and you simply claim I was just reading the map on my phone, the police officer doesn't have the right to look at your phone or deem you that you were texting. So really, I think it's a good bill that instructors to our new drivers could tell the students it's illegal, but there's not any teeth behind the law. So I have worked with other colleagues. Senator Sachs over on the east side of the county has been very active in trying to make it a primary offense. I'm taking a different stab at it next year. By the way, let me backtrack. It did not pass to make it a primary offense. I'm going to file a bill for just our first-time drivers, 16 and 17 years old. And hopefully the legislature will have the common sense to say, look, they don't want to make it a primary offense for adults. Let's at least do it for our children and those learning how to drive to make our roads safer. On the economy, obviously extremely important. We put $1.2 billion in surplus this year. You know, I was elected to the State House in 2008, which obviously was the worst economic recession, of course, in my lifetime, or many of our lifetimes. We had to make extreme amount of cuts and cut out programs. So I think building up a reserve fund for a rainy day is definitely something we must do. However, during those cuts, we also raised fees on average Floridians. I didn't vote for it, but they raised the majority raised fees as far as your vehicle registration and your licenses. And I was opposed to that those fee raises or tax increases because that hits everybody. People living on fixed incomes, people going through hard times. I'm pleased to say we rolled it back, and now you will go back to the 2009 registration and renewal of licensing fees. So I think, again, that's a step in the right direction. We had about a $500 million tax cut package. I'm being told if you would like to ask questions, and I would love to answer questions, please hit 0 on your telephone during any time during our conversation, and I would be happy to answer any questions you may have about any part of or anything that means something to you. We have an energy efficient appliance sales tax holiday that is coming up. Is it in August? No, that's a school tax. Actually, I'll start there. We have a school supply tax holiday, which, as many of you could recall, we have it almost every year. It's going to run August 1st through August 3rd, and there will be no taxes on a school supplies for your children. There's a 12-day hurricane preparedness sales tax holiday and a 3-day energy efficient appliance sales tax holiday. So we are trying to incentivize on the energy side consumers to go in and buy appliances that don't use a lot of energy. And I'm going to get to the environment on that note. You know, unfortunately, or I should say this, fortunately, there were a lot of good bills filed for our environment. But unfortunately, not a lot passed. We had a solar energy program that did not pass. We had a springs bill that requires water management districts to identify certain springs for protection that did not pass. We also had some regional planning bills to protect our environment. They didn't make it through this year. They made it through committee, but they didn't make it through the full legislature. So I'm very hopeful that next session we will get some meaningful bills passed on our environment. We had a pedestrian safety bill where drivers who are involved in a car crash, we stiffen the penalty, and I was a co-sponsor of this legislation. They leave the scene of the accident, they get a stronger penalty placed on them, and I think that's very important. Hit-and-run drivers are common in our area, unfortunately. On health care, again, obviously, I'm not a federal representative. I have nothing to do with Obamacare or the federal health care bill, but we did do something this year, and that was pass the medical marijuana bill. And this is something that I did support. Medical marijuana overall will also be on your ballot this November to vote for a constitutional amendment to make medical marijuana legal throughout the state of Florida per our Constitution. But we did pass a bill through the legislature that legalizes the use of certain strains of marijuana for medical purposes. Uses will be limited to registered patients with doctors, approval for chronic seizures, muscle spasms, and cancer. So it's limited, but again, there will be a broader initiative on the ballot that you will have the right to vote for if you feel that we should have medical marijuana or not. We had a very positive year on immigration. We passed a bill that I have been working on for several years that will allow children of undocumented residents to go to our state universities and pay in-state tuition. These were children that were brought here as young babies, went through our full Florida education system, are Floridians, and have the right to go to our Florida schools as Floridians. And on that education note, I sit on education appropriation. We are in a very unique position in Palm Beach County. Both Senator Sachs on the east side and myself both sit on the Senate Education Appropriation Committees. And to have two members of your delegation from Palm Beach County on such an important committee to bring money back to our public schools is very important and very unique and rare. So we have some strength in numbers on that committee. I can tell you I fight very hard to vote against any bill that has a tuition increase. I think making it harder for students and Florida families to send their kids to our state university system is not the direction we want to move in, so I consistently vote no. And also, any type of burden that's going to be placed on students within our system, I vote no. Just to let you know, I supported a bill for all our students, K through 12, that schools cannot put out their information, their personal information, your children's information to companies for them to use it for marketing materials or to market to them later on. It helps protect your children's identity. and I thought that was a very very important bill in the information age we live in today. Again, at any time, please press 0 to ask any questions. We are open for questions. I would love to talk with you, address anything that is on your mind. But overall, again, I am here to serve you, and being your representative in Tallahassee is very important to me. You could reach us anytime. You could call me directly if you would like to ask me questions privately, not in front of thousands of people. You could always call me at my office, 561-791-4774. But please, if you have any questions right now, please dial 0, and you will be put through. I'm going to go into appropriations for a moment because this is very important. I'm fortunate enough, and we all are, for you joining us that are from the Glades community, Pahokee, South Bay, Belle Glade, and those who may not live there. Obviously, that's a part of our community that has a great need, and we all have to pitch in and help out as much as we can. And I am pleased to announce we have brought back millions of dollars for Belle Glade, Pahokee, and South Bay in the form of road construction, road improvements, water. I don't know if anybody saw the news, but the water pipes out in the Glades are in very bad condition. The pipes are corroded. We brought back a lot of money to redo the whole piping system so they could just have adequate drinking water like the rest of the county. We brought back, as I stated, millions of dollars for roads, their municipal road construction. To have economic development in that area, we have to have the basic infrastructure in place or it will never happen, but we have delivered that. We brought back money for a career training academy so people could go and get some skills training right there in the community. And then we brought back $6 million for the start of construction on a Palm Beach State College Western campus. So that's also going to be a very good thing out in the Western communities that will benefit Royal Palm, Wellington, Loxahatchee Groves, the surrounding area. I think that's going to be very good that we have a new, obviously state-of-the-art, brand-new campus that will be constructed. Now I would like to take the opportunity to open it up to you. Any questions you may have. If you have any questions throughout this call, please dial 0. Once again, I cannot thank all of you enough for staying on the call, listening to some updates, and I'm ready for your questions. Dale Rowland. Dale, if you have a question, Senator Joe Abruzzo.
Yes, I do. I want to know, are you fighting for equality of marriage for all people, gay, straight, in Florida?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me say this. I do support openly from 2008 when I first ran for office, the equal marriage for all. I also filed a bill that has to do with discrimination in the workplace. I tried to make it illegal for an employer to discriminate anybody based on their sexual orientation, and it did not pass. We couldn't get any movement in the House or the chair in the Senate wouldn't hear it. Her name's Nancy Dieter. She needs to hear from you. But the good news is the biggest employers in Florida, Walt Disney World, Florida Blue, insurance companies, companies that tend to stay out of social issues, they actually came out and endorsed our bill. So to answer your question, yes, I am in support of gay marriage, and I am fighting for equal rights for all in the workplace. I will be filing that bill again, of course, right away at the start of next legislative session.
The reason I say that to you is I've been with my partner for 36 years, and because I was a school board, Broward school board teacher, she cannot, if something happens to me, she cannot get my benefits. And that's terrible because I'm married to her longer than most heterosexual couples are married.
Yes. Well, first off, I understand This is an issue that's in front of us a lot. Our Democratic caucus tends to overwhelmingly support the issue, and I am behind you, and congratulations on your marriage. And I was actually just married 2 weeks ago. I just came off my honeymoon this weekend, so I am married for the first time, and first and only time, and I'm pretty excited about it. And I hope that I could fight and one day be a small part of a victory that gives you the benefits that I have. Richard Leeds. You're up, Richard. Any question? Richard?
Richard?
Yes. Hello, Richard?
Hold on.
Okay.
Yes, Joe. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Me too. What's up with you?
Well, we're having a telephone town hall. You have the opportunity to ask any question you would like. There's, I think, about 7,000 people on the phone joining us, so any question you would like.
Okay, first question. What is the status in the courts about rezoning the state?
You mean redistricting, or are you talking about development?
No, redistricting. I think that the state is in the Middle Ages as far as its representation is concerned. And
Yes.
I think we should try to get at least to the 19th century.
Well, let me say this. They're in court right now as we speak. They're taking testimony. I'm not involved, obviously, in that. It's in the judicial branch's hand. But to let the listeners know what has occurred, as I stated in the very beginning of the call, we went through redistricting last year. They're contesting the congressional maps for our U.S. congressional seats, that they were improperly done, not in the sunshine. Political consultants drew them, not the Senate and House leadership. So this is being fought out in the courts. It's completely out of my hands, but that's what's occurring. So one of a few options will or may occur. One, they could just leave the maps. The court could rule everything was fine and done properly, and it will stay the way it is. They could rule that they have to come back to the legislature and we have to redraw the maps. And they'll probably give guidance of what the legislature did wrong and how we need to do it right. So that's the current status.
Mm-hmm.
No ruling has been handed down. That's the current status. They're in trial. Okay. Arlene Corning. Arlene?
You're breaking up.
I apologize, ma'am.
You're breaking up.
Oh, I'm breaking up?
Yes. The phone.
This is your Senator Joseph Abruzzo.
Yes,
any
Senator
question?
Abruzzo.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you, what is your take on Obama's releasing of that one GI, and in exchange for 5 conspirators? I don't understand what. I know that doesn't have anything to do with Florida in particular,
yeah.
but I do want to know
ma'am,
what your take on that is.
Ma'am, I greatly apologize, but let me answer that this way. As I am not a federal representative, I don't deal with the military or intelligence community or the White House or the president. I make your, I go up and fight for you for our state laws right here at home. I don't know enough about what occurred. I saw the news reports that you are seeing, but I don't know enough, nor have I been briefed on that situation. Again, it's a little bit outside of my job description, but if Americans come home, that's always a good thing. Coming from a former service member, I'm glad to get any Americans home we could get. Thank you very much. Betty Karsh. Betty, you are up.
Thank you very much. My name is actually Betty May. But
Betty May.
I would like to, I know that this is a matter that probably hasn't come to your attention since it's in a very small area. We are anticipating the development of a huge piece of property on the Intercoastal Waterway right at the bridge at PGA Boulevard. All of the people that are involved in politics are very, very proud of the way PGA has developed. That corridor seems to be something they take great pride in, having developed it so carefully. This, however, would involve a marina, a hotel, a shopping center. I mean, just on and on and on. I can't even imagine the area now is so congested that when that bridge opens at PGA Boulevard and Ellis and Wilson Road, 1 block east of that is US 1, and the traffic is so backed up and congested right now that I can't imagine how they could possibly put all of this this plan for this much more involvement with people and automobiles. And I just wondered if there was any pressure that you could bring to bear to kind of make sure that this doesn't continue. It's absolutely a devastating plan.
Sure. And Betty, thank you for bringing this to my attention. I will review. I'd like to know what's going on in the district, regardless if it's in my field or not, just so we have a grasp of it. But let me state this in the way that I operate. That, as you're well aware, is going to be determined by your local government, your local city council, your local local representatives. So I don't have any say. My voting power can do nothing regarding if a development goes up or not. We're more big picture. I could pass a statewide law that says, no development could pass, but then it would not only be for Palm Beach Gardens, it would be for every community in Florida, because anything I do up in Tallahassee has to affect the entire state. So the way that I've generally operated, because we have our own issues and a lot on our plates, and that's why we have a separated government division of powers. I kind of leave those calls to the very local elected officials that are out in the community. Now, I will take a look at it to see if I personally agree with it or not. But again, I would not use tools in our arsenal to threaten not to fight for the community, unless they didn't approve a project. I don't think that would be appropriate, and to bring that form of pressure from this office. But yet, again, I will take the time to review it. I'll meet with some of the council people I'm very familiar with. And let me just say this and leave you with this with Palm Beach Gardens. During redistricting, I always knew my state house seat, the seat that I was fortunate enough to represent, was in the western communities in Wellington. I kind of knew during redistricting, because they came out with a version of the maps, that there would be a Senate seat out west. At the last moment, because the courts kicked back the Senate map, they put in Palm Beach Gardens and part of Jupiter, Juno Beach, North Palm. That was the last minute put in that I had no idea I would have the opportunity to run for that seat, nor did I have time to really even campaign in that in our area up that way because of the timing of redistricting. But I was as I got in the community and learned the roads and the streets and the constituency, I could not agree with you more. I am so impressed with the way that the council in that area, especially Palm Beach Garden, have developed that corridor. It is a model for our state, and I hope they continue to do it in a way that keeps the community the way it is. And I can't say enough about the work that's gone on in Palm Beach Gardens. But I promise you, I will take a look at this project. Thank you.
Well,
Lydia Rubin. Lydia, you are on. You could ask anything you would like.
Yes. Lydia Rubin, right?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, Ms. Hi,
okay.
Hi, Ms. Rubin. This is Senator Bruzo.
Yes. Yes, I know. I've been listening. Okay, I have a question about the Florida Hurricane Catastrophe Fund. I have been paying, not only me, everybody, we're paying it on every bill we receive. On my house insurance bill alone, it is $900 a year, just on that one. And we get it on the electric bill, we get it on our car insurance bill, we get it on every single bill. How long do you think that hurricane catastrophe for Wilma will be on?
You know, ma'am, you're saying that every bill you receive, there's a line item that says hurricane?
Yes, Hurricane Catastrophe Fund. And the biggest one is on my house insurance, $900 a year extra.
Yeah.
For
that may be your win.
No. Nothing to do with my policy. That is extra.
Okay.
And every time I complain about it, they say, well, you have to talk to the people in Florida because they're the ones who are putting it on. And I remember several years ago. Yeah. Okay.
Linda, let's do. Linda, if I may.
Yes.
I want to get more details of your case. If after this call, if we could.
Well, it's
Lydia,
not only my case.
Well,
it's everybody's case.
I'm going to answer the question. I want to give you my office number, 7914774, and this for anybody that has an issue like this with their insurance.
No, it's not my insurance. You don't understand what I'm saying. It's not my insurance company. They are collectors for the state of Florida. Every place we get a hurricane catastrophe fund extra, they're collecting it for Florida. It's not part of my insurance. They're just collecting it for you. You understand? That's what I'm saying. It's just a collection. The policies that everybody has here,
Lydia.
Yes.
I have to find out in a little bit more detail. So if you can call me, when we conclude, so we could discuss this. But let me tell you briefly. I understand this isn't part of your insurance. You're saying that the state is collecting a hurricane catastrophe fund from you. I just want to check into a few things with you. But let me just say this. Regardless, that has to do with the hurricane. Our homeowners insurance. You're going to hear a lot of different political snippets about insurance. Let me just clearly state my position and what I feel is more factual. We can never truly get a lower rate in our insurance unless we have a national catastrophe insurance fund. We have to have a national cat fund collectively of the states, at least in the surrounding area of the South, for us to truly start seeing reduction where we have shared risk. That can only be done by our members of Congress. I've consistently been lobbying our members of Congress, or advocating to our members of Congress, that we need to get this done. Former Congressman Ron Klein got it. He actually filed a bill. Ted Deutsch gets it, Congressman Deutsch. We have to get that in place if we're ever going to see a drop. Now, I don't want you to think I'm skirting your issue. I want to know a little bit more about it. Again, please call me at 791-4774 so we could discuss it in detail and see if we could help out. Thank you very, very much. Mark, you are on the line.
Hello.
Hello, Mark. Hi, Mark.
Yes. Here's my question. It seems like the oligarchy at Walmart and the Republican Party have gotten together to put money into the construction of charter schools. Now, that being said, that when that happens, it causes the revenue of the public schools to go down. For instance, my granddaughter is in New Horizons Elementary School, and they're losing a lot of students to all these charter schools that are being built around the area. So, of course, their money is going to decline. They're hurting. So what can be done to stop this onslaught? They want to privatize. They actually want to privatize the public school system.
Okay. Here is my stance on charter schools as a whole. There are some very, very good charter schools, but the issue is there are a lot of underperforming and straight out bad charter schools. So this is a system that is in influx constantly. One of the biggest problems I have is you hit the nail on the head. When a public school student leaves a public school and goes to a charter school, which technically now is a public school, because the charter schools are now being funded by the public taxpayers, so that is classified, I'm talking classification, as a public school. When that student leaves a traditional public school and goes to a charter school, if they do not remain in that charter school, let's say it doesn't work out for them, they don't perform, they leave the system and they come back to the public school, the money doesn't follow the student back to the public school. That is something I am working on very diligently and trying to make correct. If you are against charter schools, unfortunately, the way that the legislature, and yes, it was done by the leadership, everything's leadership driven. This was done back when I was in the House. There were 81 Republicans, 39 Democrats. So we did not have a lot of power, especially back then. Now they got it up to 45 Democrats in the House. In the Senate, out of 40 senators, there's only 14 Democrats. If we lose a Senate seat, one Senate seat, the Republicans would have the supermajority and be able to override vetoes. And let me just say, I'm not trying to make this call. They're both Republicans, Democrats, Independents on this call. This isn't I'm not trying to make a political speech, but I don't think that a supermajority is healthy for either party, Democrats or Republicans. There needs to be checks and balances. But back to the question, it has been passed in law that these charter schools look like they're here to stay. I wish they were all wonderful and great, and there were no bad apples, but that isn't the case. So I'm working the little pieces to make the process better. One being at least the money follows the student back to public schools. So I understand what's occurring. I have a bigger problem, even more than charter schools, with the voucher program, where they are now corporations can donate to a religious school, any form of school, and then they have to write that off their taxes that don't get paid to the state. The program originally started for students 230% below the poverty line, very stringent conditions. I semi-get that, but now they have been evolving this program to now where basically a child in a middle-class family can go and get this voucher and pull out of our public schools. To me, that's not the direction we need to be going in. So there are some, in my opinion, dangerous parts of our education system, policy parts of our education system. Just to be clear to our listeners, I am fully supportive of our public schools and our public school teachers. I ran on that platform. It's important to me and our county. So both Senator Sachs and myself are consistently sticking, and Senator Clemens. You have three senators in this, primarily in the county. Senator Joe Negron is a small sliver up north, but our delegation, Maria, Jeff, and myself, are consistently fighting for our public schools. Thank you for the question very much. Great question. Lisa Green, you will be our final question for the evening. I really appreciate those who hung on. We had, what did we hit, about 8,000 calls? Oh, my God, ladies and gentlemen, we hit 15,000 people on our phone call. That's tremendous.
Terrific. Yeah.
I can't thank you enough. Lisa, you're on.
Yes, I'm with you. I spoke with your interviewer, and as I was speaking to him, I'm reminded of something. I campaigned for you at the polls, in handing out the flyers. And it occurs to me, I didn't mention this to him, but something has to be done about Scott trying to enforce Jim Crow laws again, and cutting the hours that people can vote. You know what happened, that that people were standing there for 8 hours in the hot sun, and this last time around. So something you've got to get together with your other Congress people and demand that stop.
A brief history on this, and I could not agree with you more. 2 years heading into the presidential election in 2012, again, I was in the State House before you all elected me to the State Senate, and what the leadership party did at that time, the Republican-led leadership, they passed an election bill which did just that. They limited the hours. They made it very stringent of where you could hold election booths. For instance, they cut out college campuses. My personal opinion, they looked and said, okay, most young people may be voting Democrat. We don't want polls at the colleges. So they did a lot of atrocious things that we, the opposition party, stood up, advocated very strong for. Well, last year they rolled back that law to a degree, not all the way, but almost all the way. So they got such a bad public backlash that even Republicans were appalled that they were going with our voting process. And I could not agree with you more. I have great concern about our election process. There is nobody that has a bigger black eye than us in Palm Beach County. I am tired of being a national joke as all of you. So I am on top of our election and ethics legislation. I think we can never take our eye off that ball. If we ever do not pay attention, it's going to be an issue. So we are very vigilant. 1 second, I apologize. Who's this? Okay, on the phone. Okay, we are actually going to take one more call. Actually, Lori Vickers from the Delray Alliance is on the phone. Ladies and gentlemen, when I talked about the Yellow Dot program, Lori was instrumental in bringing us that program. But not to move off topic, just one final statement. I will be working very hard to fight anybody, regardless of who they are, governor, party, anybody that tries to harm our elections process, shorten hours, make it harder to vote, blocking candidates so they can't advocate their positions, anything like that. You're right, going back to a different century is unacceptable, and no room for compromise. So that's my position. Lori, you are on the phone, and it's great to have you this evening.
Hello, Senator Abruzzo. Thank you so much for everything you have done. The Alliance has worked very hard over the past 2 years with you, with the firefighters of Palm Beach County, and other organizations, sister organizations, to get the Yellow Dot through, and you did it this year, and thank you very, very much. You are the greatest, and I have a question for you, only it's a rhetorical question. You don't have to answer now. My question is, are you attending the Alliance breakfast tomorrow morning? Because you are going to be highlighted on our video. The Yellow Dot's going to be highlighted, and you're going to be honored. So thank you very much, but you can talk to your staff about that.
Lori, that is a great question, and answers, of course. I cannot wait to be with you in the community. Delray Alliance and the like-minded organizations, you have done such a good job, an incredible job, advocating. And for us legislators to be able to go to an organization like that represents thousands of people and has your interests at heart, there could be nothing better for us to help us understand the challenges in the community. So congrats to the Delray Alliance. This is your bill amongst many other initiatives that you fight for every year, and can't wait to be a part of your celebration tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, I have one final thing to leave you with, and again, I cannot thank you enough. 15,000 people on the call tonight. Tremendous. I actually have a polling question. I'm going to read from the script that they just handed me. At this time, I would like to refer to you to receive your feedback on how I can continue to best serve you. The question is, what would you like the Florida Senate to focus on in the next legislative session. Issues can be related to education, criminal justice, or neighborhood safety. Any feedback would be appreciated. You are welcome to dial 0 and state that this is feedback for our office and our office only. I'm sorry? Oh, dial 1. I apologize. So, Kim, you could talk. What do you do?
Dial 1.
Just when they're done, just dial 1? Okay, when we conclude in a second, just dial 1, but I want to leave you with this. It is a true honor to represent you. I'm not just saying that as a politician. I wake up every morning and I'm faced with a lot of all our issues right here at home. And I think about our community nonstop. When I vote with our community's best interest at heart. We have, on a constituent service, I have the greatest staff in the world. Kim, Shreya, and Van from our office are out in the community nonstop. We really put a lot of effort on community service. It's just not all about voting. It's about how we can help you at home. So any way we can improve, we're always here. My office I am always open to you. I am not a servant that sits up there and doesn't get into the community. You are very important to me. I sincerely mean this with all my heart, and I cannot thank you enough once again for spending about an hour this evening with us. It means a lot to me. So if you could just hit 1 at this time, and God bless you all, and I look forward to meeting many of you if we haven't met yet. Take care.